Welcome back to Anchor Designs. I'm James and today I've got a new upgrade. Let's get started. Something that I have discovered in my home shop type buying machines is I've been doing a lot more wood turning, a lot of bigger turning on my Viceroy wood lathe, and whenever you kind of want to do bigger stuff, you want to make bigger furniture, you want to do bigger bowl blanks, you want to do bigger stuff, you need bigger machines. As a general thing that I've found, I started off like any kind of hobby woodworker, making like chopping boards, making chessboards, making, small kind of knick-knacky things around the house. And now I have a house, I'm wanting to make bigger things, bigger bowls, tables, and I'm wanting to process my own wood. So with that kind of natural progression is what I found is that the thing that was not letting me down as such, but the next thing that I felt that I needed to upgrade myself was a bandsaw. So this is my last bandsaw. This is a Axminster AC 1950, which is 1950 millimeter capacity on the blade. It's the size, the length of the overall blade. And it has been really good. It has been absolutely fine for the things that I have done with it. Now, what I'm typically finding is when I'm wanting to move up and do the bigger stuff and process some of my chainsaw milled logs, is to make those bowl blanks ready to be stored, is it just wasn't up to it. It's a hobby machine. It's a put it in your shed and do the types of stuff that I was doing with it that I mentioned earlier, the small jobby type home crafty stuff. And it's absolutely fine. It's a good machine. If I had room, I'd probably keep it and just use it for that as a bit of a backup, but I don't. So what have I bought? Let's get closer. So those that know me on my channel is I have previously done a video on my Itech table saw. So, hold on, I'm going to make some noise here. And again, for what that machine does for me now, it has allowed me to process bigger boards, bigger timber, higher depth of cut, more complex things on a more stable surface, and it's been really, really good. And hence why the reason I've been happy with the Itech table saw, and now I'm looking at the Itech bandsaw. I rang up the guys at Scott & Sargent. I dealt with Ben again, dealt with him, same process as before. This is what I want. Here's what I'd advise from Ben at Scott & Sargent. And I bought this saw. So the specification on this machine. Now, one thing I would say is this in particular range, which is the StartRite 403, 405, 503, 50, whatever it is. They're all kind of based on the throat depth. So it's all the distance of the throat, which is the tip of the blade to the internal part of the chassis here. So this one, Bs400, 400 millimeters here. The StartRite range, you can go from 400 to 500 to, I believe, 600. And just reading down the specification of this in particular model here, it is a 214 volt machine, so it's single phase here in the UK. It's the current is 9 amps, so 3-pin plug. Going to be fine. The motor power output is 1.5 kilowatts, which is I think roughly 2 horsepower, which is absolutely more than enough. The blade length is 3,531 millimeters, so you've got a nice big standard blade, which for me is important. Again, this machine is the same as the record power Bs400. It's the same as I think an ACM 400, or I think they call it 270 or something like that. I can't remember. I'll put it in the description. And it's probably the same as the Axminster or near as damn it. The blade speed is 1200 meters a minute. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these. The important ones is the maximum capacity of the cut depth, which is 270 millimeters, which is top point from the top of the bed to the blade guide assembly. Table size, you have got a 575 by 420 millimeters. Now for me, again, whenever I look at saws now, I always make sure that the slots, or try to, are exactly the same. So these are the 3/4 inch, 18, 19 millimeter cutways into here, which is your T-slots. So if you're using an angled miter gauge, which is an optional extra on these, and I've already got one, then it's the same for this, it's the same on my linen shirt, and it's the same for the table saw. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. Again, standard. I like standard. Okay, I look at all the machines that are in this price range, this size, the capacity, and to cut straight to the mustard, it was this or the Axminster machine. Now, Axminster's got the name out there with people like me. Really, it's where we all kind of know of and go to. And for me, there's little things that bug me with this range of machines. Now, things like these buttons, I absolutely hate. This is a 2020 machine, and the buttons are just not very nice. This machine, I know it sounds silly, these are standardized buttons. So if you've got a problem, you can go to Oris Components, Oris Machinery, someone like that, and you can replace these standard buttons. You know, they go for this because it's cheaper, it's, you know, it's less wiring, it's less assembly, but these are, you know, they've got that clunk feel, the proper, what I class as a proper job. Again, little things like this is quite nice. Everything on here is steel. It's got a nice, very even, very equal paint finish on here. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's wet painted or powdered. I think it's a powder coat finish. Window in here to look at the tension. We'll have a look at that in a little while. The steel, these are all doors. The hinges are welded on steel and pinned at the top. Again, nice quality. Really rigid, nice and sturdy. Let's open up the doors and see what's inside. So each one of these machines is of course safety locked on here. They're all CE marked, as you would expect. I haven't put my handle on here just yet. I'll get to that, but again, everything is safety interlocked, and everything is it's standard components. If this breaks, it's not already built into the machine. It's been really cleverly thought out. So what have we got inside here? First thing I am looking at is the quality of the welds. Everything looks nice, the quality of the finish of the inside. These big cast iron, heavy, you know, really robust kind of looking machine. It's good. I like what I see. Again, we've got standardized bearings in here. These are a BY brand, so a good, well-known bearing manufacturer, easy to get to and assemble. What else? This is your tension at the back. There's a quick release, quick change lever that you've got when you come to change your blade. There's a lever at the back that I'll show you in a short while. This then opens up and you take your blade out, you change it across, you put it back in, you make sure that your guides are all set up and nice and tidy. Have a look at this bit in here. I like this. Okay, so first thing I'm looking at up here is a nice and thick, chunky rack and pinion system for raising and lowering these. On any bandsaw, this is always a weak point, so it's nice to see that this is, you know, a good, solid mechanical joint here. So I'm hoping you're going to be able to see this okay. I'm going to try and grab the lever, but there's a lever on the back that we'll look at in a minute. That's a quick cam release onto here. So you'll notice that the band is now loose and free. You've got this blade tension in here, and you've got just average tensions between the 6mm 1/4 inch to the 30mm 1 1/8. So when you put this lever back on, nice and easy. And this is about a 3/4 inch blade, so we're already set. But if I was wanting to move this, again, one hand operation, nice and easy. Tyres on here, standardised size, they feel quite good, feel quite nice. Okay. Now it's worth mentioning that this is of course on a pallet, so when you see me grabbing it and being a bit rough with it, it's on a pallet, so you know, that's why it's moving around all over the place. So what we've got down here, again, a big heavy duty cast iron wheel onto here. Very simple. We've got this big flange mounted motor onto the back here with a nice branded belt that is a standard V belt. Looks like a 1/2 inch V belt onto here and then onto the back. A lot of the cheaper brand machines are a direct drive motors, so you'll have the motor that goes directly onto here, and they either run really quick, and if you have a snag, you hit a nail or something stops the machine, you can cause quite a lot of damage to these. I know in my working life, as we've had to replace some motors on the direct there, so it's nice to see that this is a belt. Again, nothing's exotic, it's standard belts, standard bearings, cut switches off here, dead easy. So it's all replaceable things. So dust extraction on the machine. What is nice, again, the typical sizes that I'm running at my shop is 100mm or a 4-inch port that you've got. Again, nice and standard. You've got a port from here. This is the what I call like the gullet ends. So when this is the gullet is cut through your material, you're going to get a build up here, and you can extract the dust through here. You've then got, if anything escapes through here and rides onto the band, you've got the best possible place for it is this bottom left hand corner guard there. So you've got an option to put in here at the bottom or both. Again, you're always going to be fighting the dust, but it's just one of those things. So I'm sorry for the movement of the camera here. This is just the little the band lock. I'll probably take that off. I'm not really. That just goes into a little port there. It's if the case of that this moves or it snaps, and this is kind of like a secondary safety device. It's just something nice, simple. It you know, just lives there. Move that out of the way there. So let's look a little bit closer up. So the lower bandsaw guide assembly, again, nice and chunky, machined aluminium components here, all for the adjustment with these metal quick release, quick clamp levers at the back. Now, when we come to adjust the squareness, so the square of the back of the blade to the tabletop itself, we do this just by the bolt at the back there. You lock it off and move this up, and this will change the tilt. And again, these are just what keep it clamped to the actual bed frame itself. Now, if you're wanting to change this to do 45 degree, a maximum 45 degree cuts on the back here, you'll see again a fully metal rack and pinion onto the back here. You just release the quick clamp at the other side, and then this whole assembly will rotate round up to a maximum of 45 degrees. Okay, so we're back now at the front of the machine. So let's talk about the fence here. What have we got? So we'll start off with the fence itself. This is what we call a two-way fence. So there's two options that you can have on here. So if you're doing some thicker stock or your standardized stuff, is you've got this great big datum to support your material here. You've got something nice and big and flat and be able to move this across nice and comfortably. Now, if you're wanting to do something like your thinner veneers, you need to be able to get actual access in the red zone of the blade, is you can actually unbolt this onto here, and you've got another T-slot in the back here that you can move this, you can actually move this across and actually use the medium one if you want. But typically whenever I'm using a bandsaw, this is fine. I will put a sacrificial board on the top here, just for when you're getting close. I want to keep this nice and not damage this aluminium. So the fence itself, this is on a metric scale, so you've got 5 up to around 360 millimeters. Again, if you want that 400 mil capacity, then just take off this fence here, and then you can move and use the full depth of the throat. So the fence and the mechanics of it itself, I'll start off by saying that I like this because the cheaper saws that you can actually get are typically extrusion that have got the inbuilt rule in the top there. And what you find is when you're especially cutting some big stock, is you find that the dust builds up inside the extrusions, and then when you come to adjust and move, you find that you're either not clamping very well, or it's just you're losing accuracy. So this is a solid rod of steel into a cast clamp system that you've got here. And again, if you're moving for whatever reason this side of the band, if you want, you've got two positions to move this this quick release metal handle. I like this, so you can move it right up across the side there, and it's zeroed. That's actually really nice. I'm very comfortable and happy with that. Again, solid, nice and easy, straight and simple to use. If you're an old school chap and you're using inches, unfortunately this is metric. Nice, easy, feels nice and solid. Again, it's on a pallet this, so I'm sorry, it is a bit rocky this, but we'll give this some accuracy tests when we've got this machine set up a little bit later on. So where I'm wanting my machine is I'm wanting it roughly around about there. So the linisher, I'm going to have another bit of a move around, a change around, and probably sell a few things just to get it to fit. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time and put this on the wheel kit. Again, because I was a bit cheeky, I got really lucky, I got a demo machine. So this isn't like what we've done previously, an unboxing and building style video. Ring these guys up, ring them up, see what they've got in stock and see what they can do. So I'll be back shortly when the wheels are on.
A few inches later.
So it's actually been a month since I last recorded the last section. The video kind of, a few personal things cropped up, which I had to take care of. But behind the scenes, I have been using this for over a month now, which kind of works out a little bit nicer for reviews and videos anyway. So I put the wheel kit on. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. I did have to lift this up off the pallet, but I managed to get it done. I was kind of expecting the wheel kit to be the same as the Itech table saw, which is what I've made my wood lathe, kind of designed that on as well. But it's not. It is a little bit flimsier than the Itech. It's got a little bit of a smaller pin on the front there, but it is okay. I feel like it's a little bit flexible, and I'd say the only downside to the bandsaw one is that the wheels don't seem to be, well, they're not. The base of it isn't height adjustable. So if you have got an uneven floor, mine's not too bad, but you will find that there's a little bit of a movement there. But just like the table saw, it moves absolutely fine, and it does take a little bit of time to get used to, but you can really move it around very, very easily. Definitely worth having if you need to move your stuff around. Okay, so just talking some accuracy of both the fence and the blade angle. I've tested these out with two of my squares. These are precision engineering squares that have been calibrated, the larger one that is, and it is extremely true and very flat to the actual base itself. I've got no way of accurately measuring the flatness of this base. I'd need a reference table and yeah, other setup that I've got, and there's no real point to it. I'm not going to go too nuts with this. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see that okay there. I'll just quickly reposition. And I'll try and put some light behind it here. But as you can see there, there is absolutely none, which is great. Okay, so the next topic is going to be the measuring and setting up, which was, I must admit, was a bit of a pain for me. It did take a little bit of time, but I'll show you how I did it. And this is setting up the blade squareness to the fence, and also the scale down here to tie up with the distance between your blade, of course, and your datum fence. So how I did it is one of these, which is a 25-50-75 block, or also known as a 1-2-3 block, but this is a true metric block. And I've rested this on this blade here, which is at the 50mm set point. And I'm just going to be at this point here, and I'm going to reposition you down here just to look at the scale. I'm hoping you're going to be able to see that. But that is at the 50 marker there. And you kind of want to have a gentle touch on this, but you can kind of see it looks like it's under, but it's not. It's just I can't really get the camera that well here. But that there is your line. You'll have to trust me. And then you can kind of reposition on here and then use this as kind of a feeler block. Not going too nuts because you'll obviously damage your blade. But that to me is as straight as you can get this. So that is your reference point, and then just for argument's sake here, then we are exactly on the 75mm block. Now, Axminster, which I'm probably going to be investing in, you can get a flat edge rule onto here with effectively 2 magnet points onto here. Now you can use a combination rule, which is something like this. A rule like this to then and try and marry off this blade. The problem is that if you've got a 3/4 blade like this, it's kind of awkward, which I don't really like doing, and in the grand scheme of things it doesn't really prove anything. The only way to do this right is effectively do lots and lots of cuts and then effectively tap either side to get this as square as you can, which is what I've kind of done. And you know when you're cutting as well, you kind of feel that it's getting a little bit tighter at the start or toward the end of the cut, because you'll know how it's cutting. This is straight, this is a straight edge, and all we're doing is wanting to tie this in, of course, to be parallel with this blade here. But it's easy enough to do, it just takes a little bit of time. And again, if you use a rule, you can kind of do exactly the same thing there, and you'll feel where it slides easy and you'll feel where it slides in little tight. So mine is ever so slightly more here, tension there, than it perhaps is down here. But again, I can overdo this sort of thing, and I'm sure that there's other people out there that's just the same. I'm not going to go too much into detail on this because there's many people who have lots of different opinions on the blade guide assemblies. I've made my own, I've machined my own before. I know a little bit about these and what I feel is the correct way of setup. The important one for me is what I would call the idler on the back, so the tension at the back, and you kind of want to make sure that it's not actually touching it. The back wheel that's at this back point here, I don't like that to be touched until there's a small amount of pressure, and you can kind of feel that on the blade there. As well, I like the gullet just to be behind the first guides on either side, but I don't like them too tight, especially on these wider blades. I just feel that it's unnecessary, and that is it for me. So I'm hoping you might be able to see that okay. So the back of the gullet here is just not visible from the side with these roller bearings at the back there. And what that just kind of allows is giving the most support possible, but also being free enough to make any adjustments without causing any overstrain onto these front bearings here. So the next soft test I'm going to be doing is just a sound decibel level meter, and I'm just using this app on my phone here. It's an iPhone something. I'm going to have it roughly around a meter away from the machine, and I'm just going to rest it on top of my wood lathe, which is kind of general eye and ear level. Turning on the machine. That was averaging out about 79 decibels there. Just under. think I might do like a tools video at some point, but in case you're wondering, this is a record power LED rechargeable battery little light here, and it's a product that Record Power have actually made that I like. I'm really pleased. This goes on the side here, and it is really, really good. I'm not going to go too much into detail, it's not the topic of the video, but I'd really recommend these. These are about £25–30, and all I've done, because I'm a bit tight, it comes with the little carousel of AA batteries, and I've just bought rechargeable ones in there. And so far, it's been really, really good. So you can either have the little side magnet or the base magnet there, or you can run it off a external battery pack as well, just with a USB Type-C. But yeah, really good. Really pleased with that. What else can I say about the control? So it's, I did mention earlier on that it's a 9-amp battery, but I think the startup is quite a bit more. So I'm running this on my 16-amp supply, which we'll need. So it is braked. Very nice. So you'll notice quite a lot of dust all over the floor. That is because I just haven't done anything with the dust extraction yet, and I might not bother. I bought all the piping, so the piping is up there. I bought it all ready to kind of go and get hooked up to this, but I just haven't bothered. Probably because I'm just a bit lazy and it's not too bad for the type of things that I've been doing. But if I'm doing a big job, I'll get the dust extraction out here and do something a little bit more with that. But it's like anything, you do get really used to how it uses, and it becomes kind of second nature. On the bed, maintenance-wise, I've just been using some Axminster machine wax, and you just kind of degrease it when you first get it, because there is a little bit of wax on there, although this was an ex-demo machine. And just rub it in and then buff it off, and it's been really, really good. I have cut just a small piece of the this machine table stuff that I have, and when I'm not using it, I just put a little bit of the cover on there, because it's a horizontal surface, and I've put things on there already that I really shouldn't have done. So I've put this just to try and prolong the life of the bed. What else can I really say about it? Not a lot really. Haven't had much issues. I can do a band change. Do I really want to do a band change? I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but you take off the slack there, you open this up, you take out the little plug, of course you release the tension and everything, make sure it is switched off, which it currently is not. And then it's really easy, you take it out. I've bought 2 more bands, blades from Tough Saws. I was recommended those and the service was excellent. I'd recommend that you do the same. Tough Saws UK, I'll leave a link into the description. Apologies if you wanted to see this work and move. I just feel like it's a little bit pointless. If you check on my Instagram, which is anchor_designs_GB, then you'll see the type of things that I've been doing, including I've just cut out these blanks that I had, which is 2-inch oak, 50mm oak, and it cut it absolutely fine. I've got some jigs that I want to be making, and I'd like to try some segmented turning on this. You will be seeing a lot of this machine in upcoming videos and projects on both YouTube and Instagram. So if you do want to check them out, then make sure you hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. The whole experience has been really, really good. Again, I got this as an ex-demo machine. What I'm typically finding, whether it be due to pandemic or the B word, is that things and places are out of stock, and it's a bit of a nightmare trying to get kit at the minute. So I got quite lucky with this. If you have the possibility to buy one of these machines from Scott & Sargent, jump on it, or anywhere for that matter, for any kind of kit of this nature, because things and stocks are just not being replaced very, very quickly at the moment. I'm sure it will get better. But yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Scott & Sargent. Again, I bought this machine. They haven't sent it to me. And it's another great tool to have in the workshop. So I'm very grateful. And thank you very much. See you in the next one. Thank you.